before you even put them in the
No,
incubator?
I set them just like that chicken there's been on them for a week, and then I canned them.
Oh, okay.
And when I was selling eggs, well, I'd get complaints about the Lakers. I couldn't see nothing through the brown ones, but there'd be a blood spot or something in them. And so I'd get, oh hell, I was getting sometimes close to 100 dozen a week, or a day. And then I would candle them all at night. And I say if I went out and got drunk that next night, I had a double batch to candle. Because you damn are always do them after dark. See? And then one day out there, I counted those things, and I had so many customers, sometimes I had to wait and gather the eggs before I could go to town, get what I could out of the chicken house. And one day I slipped out there and I had a basket, it was a big tall basket, about half full of eggs. I fell down and I run my hand right down through that basket. Boy, no wonder I didn't melt all the snow in Bonner County. I was showing you this old dull pencil. I don't write on those eggs with a sharp one where you poke holes in the shells and you get an old bead up and like that, or you can scribble on them, and you can tell. And if you got just a few, write the date right on the egg, then you can tell when they're going to hatch. They're supposed to be.
So how long should you keep your hens with your rooster? Like if they're all running together?
No, mine's all running together.
And you want to break them out and have
But
purebreds?
I think in that standard protection book, it's something like 7 days.
It's 2 weeks, actually.
Is it? Do you remember, Deanna?
Yeah.
Was that long
It
before
takes
they're
2
actually,
weeks to
if you put a
cycle up
rooster
a
with
whole
those
rooster
hens,
and
it's that long
a new rooster to
before they're
cycle.
fertile. But most people got a few chickens, they usually got a rooster with them. And then if the hen sets, that's the easiest way of brooding them, is right there. Because you can do, the hen will do all the work for you. I guess she's getting sick of them.
Yeah, that's the only way we had baby chicks last year. Is a couple of her hens took them.
But Donna, this works real good to take one of those boxes and get your setting hen in there, put a couple eggs under her, get the idea through her head, and then go buy your chicks if you want pullets and you don't have to butcher any. Well, then take them at night, stick the little devils under there, and that liquor box works so good because it's so tight. And you can put a brick or something in the door and keep them in there and give her about 20 minutes or so, and then go see if any of the little dummies are in the corners that they haven't found the hen, and poke them under again, and they will almost always take them. And then another thing is discrimination, and don't take a bunch of black chickens and put a white one in with them, because the old hen will usually kill them, or vice versa. They don't like the looks of them. And how the hell they can tell, I do not know. But that's happened too.
I've had rabbits do that.
I took some down there, an old little yellow Danny hen with 4 ducks down to that school. Oh, they had a farm day or something, and you couldn't imagine how many people was worrying about how that chicken could have those baby ducks.
Sister Patty's chickens hatched out of ducks last
And
year.
then out there at that fair, you can't believe some of the stuff. One people brought their chickens out there, says, entered them and took them home the same way, and they had them in an open box with a piece of carpet scrap laying on top of it. And why didn't those chickens go right out through it? I do not know. And then that Jane Clark was helping me there, and somebody brought in some baby chicks with a hen. They was a week old or so. They really weren't that cute, but they thought they were. And they'd keep getting out. They'd get around that table, and they got so you could just walk over there and pick them up. We caught them so many times they were getting tame. Somebody brought them out, and the pins got bars about that far apart. They wouldn't hold the chicks. And I've got 2 boxes out there. Old Marianne Gooby gave me one of them. They're about that big a square, and they're solid plywood, and so about this deep. And then it's got a board for a door and hinges on it, and then the rest has got wire on it, and that works real good. You can raise chicks or birds or anything in there by putting a light over them on that wire, and then feed them in there and everything, and it works pretty good with a hen too. You can put her in there without the light. You just confine them to that box is about. But Marianne gave me that one, and Walt made another. I don't know how that guy lived for 85 years and all the stuff he built.
He had a tough woman behind his house.
You know, your brother told me one time he felt sorry for Walt being married to me.
I can't imagine that.
What do you find, or what do you like best feeding the baby chicks?
Oh, well, they got this medicated chick starter. That's probably the best thing to start them on. And then you can also get chick scratch. And if you want to buy chick scratch, you want to tell them guys in the back room you don't want hen scratch, because I've had that done to me. If I bought chick scratch and I got home and I had hen scratch. But I don't know whether it's any better or what, but actually, and you take a sod off of the lawn or something like that, or out of the garden, and throw it into an old hen with a bunch of baby chicks, and she'll tear it all up and feed them that dirt. And then another thing works real good to I guess you could call it brooding. I've got several glass aquariums, and I put a light in there and keep them 2 or 3 days, and you put about this much, well, hit run gravel works the best, and they'll take all that grit out of there they want. And then with those pheasants and the turkeys real bad, they get strip tendons, they call it, because if you put them on a piece of paper like this, they can't stand up. And shavings aren't good because they're on that pin, and the shavings will give. But if you put about so much sand under them, well, they'll stand up. Besides the fact they'll eat some of it, they'll get grit in their craws. But that's the best way to keep them from getting crippled legs, is put the sand in. And I usually go down there to the pit and get some from stealing it off the neighbors with a gallon can, so that I got new stuff where there hadn't been any birds on it. The best thing in the world, if you guys got gardens, we'll take a bucket or a box or something and pull your weeds, throw them in that, and throw the weeds in the chicken house. And that stuff's good for them. And another thing you can give them that probably ain't according to oil is suet. I've hung up pieces of meat on put a thread through it with a darn needle or something hanging on the wall, and they'll pick that and pick it instead of picking each other. You can buy stuff too that is a paste. It's like almost like active grease or something. A lot of it is red. And if they're picking each other, you can rub that on them, and they pick that, and they don't like it, so then they won't pick again. And then another thing is...
Like cayenne or something, huh?
Yeah, it's something like that. But anyhow, and then they'll also break eggs, and I don't know how you'd ever stop them from that, eating eggs. And we had some out there one time, a batch of coastal pale leghorns, and Walt was going to pin them up in one chicken house. He told me not to count them. We had them in the barn or something. And those things died so bad with blowouts. They laid so early that it ruptured them. And then the rest of them, and a Scotch lamb, one day I went up there, I fed them, and then I went back and there was about 6 or 7 of them dead ones. They bled from their rear end, and I cut the head off of them and butchered them. But he only had about 60 pullets in there after a month or so. They were killing each other that bad. And then I had one kids out there at the fair when I was superintendent that they gave both of them were pretty sure, I don't know who they were, I still don't know, but they gave the trophy to the girl that had 3 pullets. The other one had 3 pullets, that one of them had its rear end picked, and they gave the trophy to that girl. And I went in the office and raised a little hell, and it didn't do me no good. I even offered to buy a second trophy.
Maybe it was a
I don't
relative.
know whether they thought it was a better chicken because it had laid early or what.